And now, Portland's own concrete5.org.
Oh yeah? Cool. Good morning, totally random, 10 a.m. Pacific time, every Friday. I'm the Friday with the CMS Patrol Squad.
Okie dokie.
The number you have dialed.
Yay! Hello! Welcome to Totally Random, the week of now. What is it, the 4th?
Yeah,
November
it's
4th? November 4th, Totally Random. Welcome. Let's see, a bunch of news to go through today, and try to keep it on our traditional format. You can see things look a little different. We're in a new spacious corner of the conference room. We've expanded in our offices out a little bit. We now have a separate area where all the work happens, and this has become a space for us to confer and brainstorm and use whiteboards. So we have a quick video of the new office space, and just give you a quickie 360. There we are. Nice bright room with white walls, computers, and chairs, nothing else. Me, hey-o!
Heyo.
And there you go, right back the other way. No one's in there right now because they're outside provisioning the office with some sweet new furniture that apparently is not good enough for officials, but looks plenty good for Greg.
Looks like a demilitarized zone.
That's Greg making sure that nothing goes to waste. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yeah, we do
repurpose.
reuse. Yeah. Oh, that's
So that's good stuff. But yeah, it's great to have a little bit more room, and we can be loud and whatnot on our new show, and no one's losing productivity. In other news, we were written up in Linux magazine.
Woo.
Go out to your newsstand, I guess, and get that. We are in the projects on the move section. They're talking about different CMSs and mention Easy Publish, which means they must have some kind of presence in Germany. And yeah, it's kind of cool. They talk about Joomla a little bit, and then bow, concrete5 for like
we're the
all
end.
that and all of that.
The end.
So, good work. Yeah, nice.
Yep.
Exciting. Let's see, in other news, the community, concrete5.org, has passed 80,000 members now. So, that's exciting.
That is very exciting.
Lots of people in there helping one another. The alpha phase that we launched last week on Totally Random is going very well. We've got, I don't know, a dozen or two folks to help at this point. And was chatting with Andy, says that he opened about 110 issues in GitHub for, hey, fix this and clean up that, and now 26 remain.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And before we move on, the URL I could see you put in the window, it's actually linuxpromagazine.com.
Oh, well then. Sorry. Yes.
Don't buy, these magazines are expensive, so don't buy the wrong magazine.
Yeah,
It's like $14.
linuxpromagazine.com.
Yes.
Not Linux-mag. That's one this is no good.
Those are for Linux amateurs.
That's right.
This is for Linux
For
pros.
the pros. You can tell from the photography.
The hefty data center graphics that are on the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
motley headshots in here.
But that's, I just want to make sure that no one buys the wrong thing. Anyway, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
We were also written up in Web Designer Depot, the online news source. This article, top 10 content management systems. They put us at number 10, which I have to believe means it's an inverse order list, right?
It comes after some things I didn't even remember existed.
Sure. Yeah, it was, reasonably accurate write-up. I think their only complaints was that things in our marketplace cost money, but, whatever, dude. We're right after Expression Engine, that's $100 a pop. So that's good. Got some nice traffic from that. Always nice to see us listed amongst our competitors in a favorable fashion.
Did we talk about Web Designer Mag last time?
We mentioned Web Designer Mag. We don't have a copy of it,
We
so
don't.
there's really nothing I can
Yeah.
wave around yet. But I guess once that hits
We'll do that.
our newsstands, we'll bust that out.
Yeah.
How about Karma Picks? Did we get any Karma Picks?
Yeah, we got 2 this week.
boy.
First one is a rather festive concrete5 pumpkin.
Oh,
Nice.
sweet.
Nice.
And that's from Sniggity
Snacks.
Snacks.
Very good.
Cool. This is very nicely done.
Yeah, that's.
Someone's handy with a blade.
And the second
That's
one comes
awesome.
from MK Harascaro, and looks like he put a sticker on his laptop.
Nice. It's a great spot for it. What's he doing?
He's rocking.
I see. Okay. I'm down with that. Cool.
He's making a rock face.
That's a rock face. Nice. We also gave out some badges this week. Badges. And no, I gave a badge to the real Sean for catching spam. And Chris told me that he was helping him with finding spam threads and stuff, so he got karma'd up. I think Greg gave some badges to, I'm probably going to butcher this, Dejus, Dejs, for contributing to the gallery block, giving us some code back that he was using for something there. And in the same vein, Patrick Heck, who contributed some fixes and improvements to the Google Premium block.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's great. The stuff is all free. It's wonderful if other people can help us kind of keep that stuff happy and growing in the right way. And then you gave some badges to Jordan and 12345J for
I did.
some how-tos.
I did, yeah. They collaborated on a how-to about making a theme from start to finish. So go from beginning at where to find free HTML templates,
Nice.
going all the way to page types and how to style navs. It's a very long theme. It's toward the top of the how-to section, so you'll find it. It's under 12345J that he worked with Jordan.
Nice.
So they both got some extra karma points and some. They got some extra karma points and some other stuff.
Someone was commenting, I think John Fish, or someone was commenting that we should have a better way of embedding photos in the how-tos.
Yeah.
Strikes me as-
It's kind of a pain. You have to host them yourself.
Yeah, which is like, well, that's just
Yeah.
waiting for the images to be broken.
Mhm.
So I can imagine us updating that in the next push to concrete5.org that we do, which will happen at some point later this year as we launch 5.5. Karma winners, does the Karma machine run?
It has.
Nice.
Looks like John the Fish won a copy of the discussion forums for helping out. And Metaglyphics won a copy of Message of the Day for promotion. And then Talikman won a copy of the document library for doing work.
Nice. Doing the work.
Yeah, it's funny. Jordan and 12345J got a lot of karma points for that one large how-to, but John the Fish, I think he had like 4 how-tos approved in this particular period. So it makes
Nice.
sense that he would be doing that.
Well, and just to clarify, because I know it's come up a couple of times, the Karma machine actually gives out raffle tickets for every point that you get in the last week, and then it does randomly choose I guess actually 3 winners, 1 for each category. That's actually what this show started. If you dig into the archives, you'll find a much earlier version of this show, totally random, where we were picking numbers by hand with exciting different mechanisms to actually get a random number. It was very tedious and time-consuming, but it was fun. But yes, don't just think because you're at the top of the list this week that you are necessarily going to be the winner, even if you have a big lead, because there is some totally randomness in there. Yeah, there is. It happens all the time. Happened last week, dude.
I
Really
doubt
did.
that very much. I
It
doubt
really
that
happened
very
last
much.
week. Really did.
Okay.
How-to's created. I think we're at the PRB.
Okay. We approved a few things this week. The first one is Twitter login. So this is a free add-on that will let you, it adds a single page to your site, and on that single page that you can be redirected to Twitter, and it will ask you to authenticate, and they'll send you back to your site, and much like OpenID, it will join a new account to Twitter ID. So you can, a single sign-on solution for those who want to add a login via Twitter to their concrete5 website.
Nice.
And in SEO news, there is an add-on called Seo Redirects. And what this does is you have to have pretty URLs turned on, but anyone who cares about SEO is going to have those turned on. What this does is it gives you a single page in the dashboard where you can add in just arbitrary 301 paths and redirect them to different pages on your site, which is a little bit more convenient than just entering, than having to go to the page itself to do the external links. But if that were all it did, it wouldn't be that useful. But in addition to that, you can redirect arbitrary paths to files on your site, which is kind of cool. And then there's a third category down there that lets you redirect to
Static URL.
Static URL. So you can manage completely unrelated redirects, provided they all come to your concrete5 site. So
Nice.
this is sort of one-stop shop for any site that's migrating from a pretty large existing website to concrete5.
Does it handle extensions gracefully?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a key.
Yeah, and we made some changes to handle extensions gracefully, but we don't do any kind of file-based. Like if you wanted to take old files into the file, because concrete5 does everything in the file system, so it's a good way to go. A new pop-up block called Pop-Up Pro came from JV1, and this is cool. It's a block you can add to a page, which will then throw up a pop-up in a bunch of different styles to a page on your site or other sites. So you can iframe content. You can pull it in through Ajax. There's no fancy CSS selectors to learn. You just are able to specify which page you want to iframe, and then it's up to you to make sure that page looks good in the pop-up.
Cool.
But there's a lot of different there's different skins for it. So there's like a fancy box type thing. There's a Facebook style thing.
Wow, look at that. Whoa.
Look at there's a beautiful one that comes with this content. Not really, but yeah. So that's a nice. It's nice. It makes. I think it does a good job of making it make sense.
Sure.
Some of these solutions work, but you have to wrap your mind around how they're architected, and this one works the way I think that this should work. So.
Intuitively.
Yes. That's what I do.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So moving on to some of the themes, we have a theme by Tal Ackman. This is called Colette. This is kind of a theme that has a very prominent photograph on the front and just a nice drop-down menus, and comes with, I think, some ability to do random images and stuff like that built right in.
Nice.
The random image block to pull in an image from a file set, that type of stuff, and works well with different packages like e-commerce. All that stuff displays pretty nicely in there, and it's a nice theme.
Yeah,
Pretty. And the next theme to talk about, the second of two, is called Ribeiro, and this is kind of interesting. It's a nice theme. It's got some nice built-in widgets for cycling between content, and the typography is really nice, and it's just nice and elegant and clean. It is built specifically for review sites, so I didn't dig in completely about how well this might work with our reviews add-on, but nothing. I wouldn't see why it wouldn't work very well. And works well for any kind of gadget magazine or like a food website or blogs. There's lots of different areas for affiliate advertising and stuff like that. If you're building a site, like a product site, that you're going to have ads on the right-hand side.
Sure.
And yeah, it's a nice theme, and has some cool stuff built into it.
Share.
Yep.
Cool.
Finally, we have a couple add-ons for e-commerce to show off today. The first one is called Free Shipping by Product, and that, as you might imagine, this is a new shipping type you can add to e-commerce that's just the regular flat shipping, but also lets you specify certain product sets that have no shipping cost assigned to them. And if that's all you need to do, this is probably a simpler solution than some of the other ways that you can approach this problem in e-commerce. So it's a very specific add-on, but if that's something you need, then go for it.
Nice.
And finally, we have kind of a cool add-on that's been sitting for a little while. It's pretty advanced. It's called this is a gift card system for e-commerce, and this is a complete gift card system built into e-commerce and completely self-contained in e-commerce. So you can purchase gift cards through your e-commerce site, and that's a product block. And once you buy them, you are emailed a code, and on the back end, the administrators create batches of those codes, and they get created at one time, and then you can also, it adds gift card as a payment system on your site. So
Pretty
you
cool.
can purchase gift cards, give them to people, and come back and use those gift cards, and then the administrators can keep track of which gift cards are used by whom and for what.
Oh, that's great. I know
Yeah.
people want that.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool. It's like a complete solution, and they've obviously spent a lot of time making sure stuff kind of adheres to the way we've designed e-commerce in terms of how it looks.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a very
nicely done.
Yeah, very full feature. So good job. That is the last add-on to show today.
Cool. Okay, we're not going to spend a lot of time on 5.5 today. We will show some screenshots that we haven't in the past in a little bit here. But first, I thought we should do a little Q&A. Maybe do the, how would we do that? So if someone's got a URL, they want us to let you know how we would do that. Now would be a good time for that. If you don't, we'll force one on you. How would we do that? Yeah. Post a URL if you've got one. I got one. It's annoying. No, you're not gonna
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, please,
It's a
post
real
something.
mess. It's
Think
not-
harder.
Think harder. Think something easy.
It's a real mess.
It's still early. Okay, let's look at zoo advertising.
Zoo advertising.
Whoa. So,
Oh.
Robert Designer Boy thought this one up for us. Just click on some stuff. There, yeah. Ooh. So you got all this crap thrown up on the page, and then you roll over one, everything else fades out.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the home page. Also, you can see the header is fixed. Robert's really into that right now. The header doesn't scroll. It's not.
Yeah.
You're not in frames. It's just the header is fixed.
Yeah.
And then this I think is a little bit more same, just a scroller of some type. It's kind of weird with this resolution.
Yeah.
A
A lot of image blocks.
lot of image blocks, yes.
And a next previous block with a custom template that hangs off the side.
Yeah, so that, I mean, the detail is probably pretty,
Yeah,
pretty
detail's
clear.
pretty
Big
simple.
image blocks, either one big block area on a page, and then you do something at the block area to, maybe it's a modified image slider block or image
Yeah.
gallery that you can just do this on the side of the page. Or perhaps you have separate detail pages underneath, and then kind of like a category page that will pull the content up, and that will give you a little bit more flexibility in the big picture. You can attach guestbook comments to each image and have a specific URL you could send someone to. Oh, you should look at this project. So there is value in sometimes making these detail pages, even if you're going to typically serve the content through a container.
Yeah, I would think that this would be there'd be a detail page. There'd be a header that is fixed with an auto nav or a auto nav that's coded and with some kind of mega menu solution that we've talked about before underneath those things. And then for each one of these detail pages, there'd be a next previous block added, or if not even added, potentially just used but hard coded that would then position the next and right or next and previous arrows, fixed in the browser. And
Yeah.
then it would be a full content area that you could then split.
Do whatever you
with
want
layouts,
because
because there's a lot of
weird
stuff
layouts.
happening.
Yeah,
you know.
you're right.
But they're all just redirecting to different pages, and I would probably
Yep.
for a page for each project. And
Yeah.
clearly, some of these projects are very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks good. And then there's stuff like this, which is they're all very design centric, but you could totally do that with layouts.
Yeah, this would be a perfect use for layouts because each one is different. You don't want to have 400 page types.
Yeah.
And you're not going to need that many layouts for these pages. You're going to
Yeah.
chop these block areas into a dozen
Yep.
smaller block areas. That's pretty safe. I think that main nav is probably not going to change much at all.
Yeah,
So you could probably just hard code that
yeah.
to the template and then pull the content for that drop down
Dynamic.
from little scrapbook or something,
Yeah.
maybe, just so you can either dynamically. But it looks like they've got like one in yellow.
Yeah, they do have some interesting stuff. We probably use a stack for that in 5.5 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Something. Maybe that app was telling you which page it was on. Is that what's doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
The page you're on is highlighted, so you would have to somehow build it with an auto nav.
Yeah.
Page list.
Yeah, we probably use a page list, a call to the page list object, and then just split them in half or do something.
Mm-hmm. What about that horrific homepage channel?
Yeah, can you go back to that? So if you click on those things, do they take you into detail pages? Like
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So if you go back to that,
I bet you it's not like masonry. This thing reorganizes itself. I bet you someone spent a lot of
Yeah.
energy deciding that it's meant to look just so.
They do fade out to almost nothing though, but they are total. Are those? No, they aren't. They're like they keep the form factor. They
Yeah.
just don't. But they're not like. They're just.
Yeah. Once you're on one, everybody else fades out. I don't know. I mean, I guess the questions that we would ask is, well, how do you want to add to this over
Yes,
time?
that would
Like, is
totally
this just
be my
gonna,
first question.
Yeah. Are you just going to have this page just gets longer and they just kind of stagger out? How much control do you want over it? I mean, if you're willing to let these kind of stack up in interesting and exciting and dynamic ways,
You
then
could totally build this programmatically. It would just
Yeah.
and to do that, we'd probably just grab a list of featured we'd use the page list to grab a list of featured work.
custom
and-
attribute.
Yeah.
Add custom attribute called
Yeah,
featured.
featured.
Find me all the pages that are featured. Look for a screenshot.
Yeah, thumbnail. That we'd
thumbnail.
use a special thumbnail custom attribute on that page, and then we would grab all those objects, and then perform some awesome JavaScript to lay them out in a way that
Yeah.
was random but appealing.
Yeah.
On top of each other.
You know, and we might argue for, hey, it'll be a lot easier to manage this thing in the big picture if you let us build it programmatically that way, and perhaps there's an opportunity to do some cool rearranging, and every time you come, there's a different one on top,
Yeah.
and, bust out that masonry JavaScript
Yeah,
example
totally.
and show them that, and be like, wouldn't this be cool? And see if you could turn them on to that kind of approach. If the answer is no,
We want
we
them to
want this to look exactly this way every time, then
That would be tough.
that's a downer.
It
And I
would
guess
be a
that's
lot
just
of
a big
hand code,
page.
HTML, and JavaScript. Yeah,
It's just a big page.
with a lot of crazy styles.
I don't see. If you want it to always look that way, what are you going to do with the content management system?
Yeah.
You're going to end up having to play with that thing. So
Yeah, we would
Yeah.
it'd just be one big HTML block.
you probably just build it into the template
Yeah,
for the
thanks.
home page type, and you can still have some editable areas there if you wanted to have like some featured content or something. But there you go. That's how we would build that.
Yeah.
Pretty tight.
Yeah, that's totally.
Any questions? Any Q&A that we should be looking at here before we get into screenshots from parts of 5.5 that we haven't shown?
Okay, I'm gonna go with the chat room here and
Oh,
see
yeah.
what we got.
See if we got some questions.
Okay, Minkris has a question. You guys want to take that one?
Sure.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's
No.
very-
His question is, how would you guys adapt C5 to be like GitHub?
Huh?
I don't understand.
Like build a concrete5 site like GitHub, maybe?
Well, GitHub is so cheap. I guess there's only two, like the functionality of GitHub,
He
or
has,
like the
the
community and the design of GitHub.
He adds the social stuff.
The social stuff, I see. Yes, so putting aside the Git part and just focusing on the hub.
on the hub.
On the hub. We would make a lot of use of the members pages for people. We would have page type projects and a bunch of stuff under that.
Yeah.
And in fact, we have worked on something that kind of does that, being the TopCon University stuff with its whole kind of copy
Yeah.
node stuff. So we recently built a learning site for a big company, and they rebranded it for some of their partners. And so there's different portals within this site. You log in, and now it's your company logo in the corner and your own stuff, and sometimes the pages that you have under that will change. So the way we did that is we actually made a node in the sitemap that is, I forget what we call it, portals, And within that, we have a different set of pages for each partner, and they have kind of one like default things that would be within it, but we can always kind of override them and extend them and change them.
Yeah, we actually, they're all single pages. Well, no, that's not true. There is one, there's one page type that's like portal control panel. And within that page type and controller, there's just a ton of different functional stuff you can do, and they're all very one-off specific business wizards and different administrative functions you can do. And then we just use advanced permissions view access on those pages to control who has access. So basically, we don't use any special flags for that. It's just much like all the single pages in the dashboard. If you have access to view those pages, you then are considered an administrator of that portal. And it all works on user groups that are bound to a custom attribute on the portal, and that determines who you can operate on.
We took a similar approach when we did School Pulse way back in the day. That was company 4, right? Was it
Yeah.
the first 5? Yeah.
No, it wasn't. The second, the rebuild was one of the very
early
first.
5. But yeah, if you read the history, you'll see School Pulse is no longer alive because of just startup stuff. But that was like a MySpace for moms. There was a group page for every school in America, so about 1 million, public and private. And within that, there was a calendar. What else could you do? There's a little forum. There's a little tasking system.
Bring cookies.
Yeah, we're having a bake sale. Who's bringing hot dogs? There was other stuff that's escaping me at the moment, but there's half a dozen pages that you would need within each school to organize things. And the way we did it was there was a node that was schools, and there was a couple 100,000, a million some pages underneath it, one for each school. And we would, if you needed to set up a new one, we had kind of like a default setup that we had built somewhere that we would just copy over and rename the important parts. And you can actually build a single page interface to do that. So for something like GitHub, you could have a sign up. Okay, great. Now from your members area, we would link to a single page that would let you create a new project, which is really just going to copy half a dozen pages from some private area in the sitemap to a...
Yeah, like their template. Pages.
Yeah,
it's like a more flexible, bigger version of page defaults, kind of multi-page page defaults.
Okay, but architecturally, they're not different. They're not template pages.
No,
they're
they're just pages
that we are thinking of as these.
And we script out and so there would be a project page, and underneath them there'd be a members page that lists all the members in your project, and there'd be a repositories page and access page.
So all of the content for whatever your project, your schools, whatever it is that you're hubbing, is distributed out across these different spots in your tree. But you're still creating it as a user, so you can still do things like create an interface in the members area of all my messages across the different things that I'm part of or whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how our own site's built. I mean, the marketplace there is a marketplace. You can see in the URL structure, there's /marketplace /add-ons /your add-on.
Yeah. That's
got half a dozen pages in it, and we can still list all that from the members area.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we've answered that. What else you got?
I think Maker's added questions. How would you do per page, per user / group permissions?
With advanced permissions.
Cool. Wow. All right, question from J.A. Steele. He'd like to know, he's getting non-deletable page versions that give 404s only if logged in. Any ideas on how to get rid of those? Says he's got advanced permissions and user group can only preview.
That sounds odd.
Yeah, it does sound odd.
I think that's post a whole bunch of details in the forums and see if someone can help you. It sounds like a configuration type deal.
One question from Francis Coate, and looks like Micker's already directed to the forums on this one, but he's looking for, or he or she is looking for a way to make a page visible to guests only. Do we have anything in the works for that, or is that just not doable right now unless you do custom stuff?
It's not doable right now unless you do custom stuff. It is in the works.
Yeah, I can see that changing in the big picture.
That's one of the things on the revamp permissions list.
Make them inclusive or exclusive, not just inclusive. Yeah,
because there's times you want to do that at the block level too. you want to show this only to.
That is very difficult to do today. I mean, you can do it, but you're going to have to basically just hack with some code at the template level or the nav level or whatever. Yeah.
All right, yeah, from Shadow Computers, he'd like to know, what do you think the best way is to create a multi-step form?
Ooh. They're going to need some beer.
How much is dependent on how many steps?
530 steps. I don't know, single page, custom form?
Yeah. This would have to be either a custom form, like an external form with the block, or a single page. Trying to think if there's some. No, there's not. I'm trying to.
Well, the single page, you're going to get a little bit more control over the. A little more control over the flow, right? So if you've got like a 10-step form and you want to be able to save every step as you go and jump from step 5 to step 2 and that kind of thing.
And keep all the data
To
together.
keep the data as you get, like that just sounds like a single page
Yeah.
to me. And it's back. If it's a little simpler than that, I could see doing with a custom form, but I think you might lose flow.
Yeah, you could build pages and put forms on them, and then at the end of each form redirect the user to the next page.
That'd be funny. Yeah.
But then the that would actually work. And for simple ones that would probably suffice. But because at the beginning, a while ago, we didn't even have the ability to tell users where their forms went when they submitted. So this would be off the table. But the only problem with that is they're all separate forms in the back.
Your data would be a mess.
So your data would be a mess and not linked.
Yeah, so every page in your form you'd have a different, you have to pull from a different table, which would be pretty, well, a different
You have a different form.
different
entry.
export and form entry, it's all in the same table. I would probably look at the single page stuff.
Yeah, that or
perhaps the custom form, but the only advantage of using the custom form is if you're going to use the same thing in different spots.
Yeah, or if you want to place it in a page that you don't have as much control over for whatever reason.
Single page would be what you should check out for that.
Yeah.
I think there is
I think if someone has a the advanced form block is pretty darn advanced. It would not surprise. Or an extended form. There's enough. If you search forms, you might find something that does that.
I know there was some talk of building logic into one of those form blocks at one point. I was thinking about IRC, so perhaps that has happened.
Be worth it.
Yeah, that's a hard problem to solve. I mean, the other answer is go get survey location.
Yeah,
Wrap the
definitely.
HTML they give you in the HTML block. What else?
Yeah, definitely. That's a decent. That's not a bad response.
What is it that Minkers is going on about with permissions? More permissions.
I want more. Needs more.
It's not like
I gotta have more
view,
permissions.
Admin, edit, approve, but custom permissions.
I need custom permissions.
Got to have it. I don't understand. You can do a manual override on any page. You can inherit permissions from the page type, so that would help. You could probably configure the permissions on. This is back to that whole hub discussion. You could probably configure the permissions. I know something we could talk. If you're going to build a single page interface to create my new project, you could configure those permissions when that is created. And there is also a rarely used thing called page owner in the page properties that you see sometimes. And you're like, what's this for? Generally nothing. But we have used page owner in the past to make it so, well, if I'm the owner of the page, I can edit it, and you can build in hacks kind of around the permission system to make that work. Okay, is that how our marketplace works? Do we use owner? Do we have permissions?
We use owner a lot,
Yeah.
actually. We anytime you see my add-ons or stuff like that, I think we track that in other ways too. But yeah, we definitely use page owner for how-tos, listing my how-tos.
Yeah. So if you are the owner, you can edit your showcase site. But if you're not, you're not. And that way you don't have to set up permissions for each.
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't set up all the permissions customly on those how-tos and stuff.
So maybe that helps. Anything else?
I think we got a question from Perry Govier. He asks, could a custom block hook into the avatar editor to force an image size? Let people crop an uploaded image?
Maybe. Whatever happened to that thing that we made for Widen?
I don't think think we ever released it.
We should do something.
Just
like that.
sit and
Fold that into 5.5 something.
I thought we had talked about if we were to make a better version of the blog,
Yeah.
we'd include that.
That
Put
should be
the
in there for
thumbnails
some
and
reason.
stuff.
We built a improved version. Actually, we had Joshua build an improved version of that flashy thing that lets you do a little bit more of that, define the size of the box, and actually the box would update and flash. And I feel like it did something else.
Yeah, and it was a custom composer template for the image block, so
Yeah.
it let you.
It was still Flash based. It was not HTML5, but it was pretty cool. It gave you nice ways to kind of resize and position the image, and we used it for a client that was not a really very design-centric layout for pages that we were building as kind of a prototype for Composer. And they wanted to be able to choose between different form factors, 1 image, 2 images, 4 images, and then have the thing like auto-crop them. So that exists. I could definitely see just including it in 5.5 as an Easter egg if you're a developer. We'll see if we have time to figure out how to show an example of it working.
Yeah.
But we'll dig that thing back up.
Okay, a question from Italis. They'd like to know, could you give a 20 or 30 second blurb that could be used as a pitch to define why concrete5 is better than its competitors?
Sure. concrete5 is better than its competitors inherently because we value the relationship between web developers and website owners. So fundamentally, from the bottom up, every decision that we make is about the balance between those two sides of the equation. And no one else really does that. There's an awful lot of really cool products out there, but they're typically geared towards one side or the other. So WordPress, great for someone who's running a website. If you're a developer, probably going to get frustrated in the big picture if you're trying to turn it into like a complicated extranet. Drupal, I'm no expert, but from what I'm told, a lot of really appealing stuff for developers in there. But if you work in PR and you just want to get that press release up, chances are you're paddling upstream. So kind of appeasing one side of the equation or the other seems to be kind of like an afterthought for a lot of projects. With us, it's really where we started back in 2003. How can we make something that is powerful but easy to use?
It kind of informs all the decisions we make even today. Like, is this going to add unnecessary complexity? Is this easy to understand? Are we taking away too much?
That is the fundamental, deep strategic thing that means that you will always be in good hands with us. The easier way to explain it to a client is to simply set up a site, put a page in edit mode, change some text, publish it, and then show them versions. And you're pretty much done. It takes about 30 seconds. And anyone who's ever had to edit a website in the past is typically pretty happy with that experience. And then you can, of course, and when I demo, that's pretty much what we do. So here's a site. I click on a few different pages. Now that's pretty cool. Let's log in. Now you see you got this editing bar. If I want to fix a typo, I just go there, boom, 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 fix the typo. Sweet. But don't worry, everything is contained in versions, so you can roll things back. Because the first thing they think of is, oh my god, I'm going to break my site because I can do it right there on the site. So you got to immediately show them versions. No, you're safe. You can roll things back. And then if they look like they understand, you show them like the survey block or a form block.
Yeah, something a little more advanced than just the rich text
right.
that you are.
Because they're thinking, oh, this is just simple lightweight stuff. Like, no, look, it's like Legos. You can put anything that you want wherever you want. And then show them how to add a page. Like I just go where I want it and add a page. And typically at that point, either they're pretty excited or, maybe you're going to have a hard time getting them excited.
Yeah.
That's
usually
how I would do it. That's what we do. Works for us. What else you got?
All right, do you guys know offhand if there's a slider in the marketplace somewhere that allows you to embed videos?
I don't know.
Not off the top of my head. There are a fair number of video players in there, and there are certainly a number of sliders. So what I would do is look under the multimedia category, because we try and categorize these things pretty well, and if it has video, try and keep it under multimedia. So I would check that. If you don't find it, look for search for slider, and then that's what I would do.
I would also ask add-on developers, if you see a slider that has the behavior that you like, send them a message from the ask pre-sale question. Say, hey, can I embed a video in here? And if not, what would it cost for you to extend this block so I could? and it looks like someone's saying that Todd Pro has a slider that does.
Yeah, you also, even if you don't see the word video, you might try looking for either HTML or scrapbook integration, because what that typically means is a scrapbook can contain anything, and so it should be built in such a way that it will take whatever block you throw into the scrapbook, and that could include a video.
It looks like a few do. Anything else?
Yeah, one from David Murph. He asks, what do you guys personally use for horizontally positioned blocks with some sort of spacer image? Multiple areas or layouts?
It depends on it depends on the context. So if it's like part of a page that's going to be used a lot, it's like, oh, there's a category view and it shows a bunch of thumbnails or whatever, then we would just build a page type that had a block area for each one.
Yeah, and then they'd have a block area, and we just use a grid system to lay out those columns.
Yeah, space the divs.
Yeah.
If it was just a one-off, hey, I want this page to look this way, if it wasn't too many of them, I'd probably use layouts.
Yeah, so we use layouts on our own side.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, there you go.
That covers the...
Cool. I think that handles the questions we got for now.
Cool. Well, last thing that I've got here is we never really showed too many specific examples of the news flow and the wizard from 5.5. We have kind of talked about them. We've shown actually some of the real actual implemented versions of them.
Very
but
much
the implemented versions are very lorem ipsum, and I dug through my email and busted out some of the comps that Robert originally did for what Newsflow and the Wizard look like. So you can just throw those up and quickly explain what they're for, and I'll give you something to leave totally random with a smile on your face. So there you go. There is Newsflow 1. Excuse me. My goodness. So this, you can already see, has changed a little bit in the way we're implementing it, but the idea here is first time an admin comes to your site in any given day, they see Newsflow 1, whether you're going to a dashboard page, which this implies with the image in the background, or actually your own site. This would float on top of your own content. You get the big box on the left, which has the information that was used to be in your dashboard, kind of upper left-hand section. And then 5 boxes around the side that have interesting tidbits and news, recently approved themes, stuff from this show. You can see there's the cool, totally random concrete5 newscasting icon in the corner. Yada yada. That means next shot. Cool. So you can page your way through these things simply by rolling over the side. So if you flip the page, here's another example, kind of like a 3x layout with some articles that have some imagery in them and one video. Another one, yeah. So here's one where we're pulling some content out of the, we're kind of debating whether those are how-tos or FAQs, or a how-to section built on top of the FAQs, but something like that on the right-hand side. Totally random on the left, a couple of articles underneath. 2-up layout, showing how the gray in the background may or may not work out all that well. Here's a different layout. These are actually, would all be served from concrete5.org, I see Brian's question. That first page is hosted on your site, and if you're white labeling concrete5, you can change the way it behaves and looks. If you can get past that page, then these are basically the big picture daily, probably the short picture weekly issues that are being pulled from concrete5. And the entire HTML for the content space, so pretty much everything inside of the rounded corners is served from our site. So
yeah, and these will replace the kind of RSS feeds that we have in the dashboard currently. So we have our concept of news that we show in little tiny lists that no one reads, and approved add-ons and stuff like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to create that content and lay it out by hand. In each screen, basically, and let you page through them.
Yeah.
So.
And you can learn more about this stuff if you watch last week's show, if this is news to you. What else you got there, man? Another layout, showing some karma winners. That one's fun. Here's a detailed article. I'm not sure if we're actually going to do it this way or not.
We might not.
We're probably not going to go this way in the big picture. But it was an idea. Another version of that. Fortune right ahead. I know we're not going to do that. Yeah. Oh, that was a page curl idea that we nixed. There we go. That's how it looks. Roll it to the side. Get a little fade and arrow.
That's the last of our screenshots there.
Oh, okay. Well, you should also have the wizard thing, I believe.
All right.
So this is the guy that's already built that you see the first time you run concrete5, possibly after an upgrade, if you're lucky. Kind of explaining some of the awesome features and whatnot for different audiences. So we've broken out our audience into 4 sets. Site owners, site developers, which is kind of that basic relationship that I was talking about a little bit ago. But then we also have designers and kind of agency business owner types that all want to have their own, concerns and things they'd like to learn about. So you would click one of those blue buttons to learn more, and then you would go into something that feels more like this. So nice friendly illustration on one side, not too much copy on the other. Roll over either side to click through them. Yada yada, what is free? Balloons. I like that one. Really need help. No, CMS is glue. So that's cool stuff. I like that one. A little restroom man at the community. So you can page through these guys and learn about Concrete5 without having to go to concrete5.org, which should be nice. So that one's a cool one too. Those little blue buttons would launch a little video explaining how do I put the page in edit mode. So hopefully we'll get a lot fewer kind of noob questions in the forums about how do I add a page and that kind of stuff, because it should be very difficult to get past this stuff and have no sense as to what's going on. So just wanted to show that stuff because it's going well.
Yeah.
We will not be here next week. Andy and I have to run across the country, but we'll be back the week after that, and I think at that point we will be in beta or close to it for 5 Live.
So we'll be in beta or close to it.
Very exciting stuff.
Totally random.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Woo.